Okay, guys, welcome back. It's Mike with Kiss Dog Training. Today the topic is going to be potty training, and there's a little self-serving part of this, and there is a little bit that it needed to be done again. I realized how long it had been since I kind of talked about potty training. It also gives me an opportunity to maybe self-promote a little bit that we wrote a book way back when called The Dog Owner's Book of Poop and Pee. And the real reason we wrote the book was so that folks could have a simple, quick routine that they could institute in their house and work on getting their dog to understand where to go in the right spot. Now, it is a simple, quick routine, but it is not a quick process. I think a lot of people lose sight of the fact that that would be like saying that a 9-month-old baby should be potty trained when it's more realistic to be thinking in the terms of 3 to 5 years old. So it's not necessarily a quick process, but it is, and I think we'll be discussing this a lot. It is a routine that if you get it set and you push the button and you put the reminders in your phone and you do all the stuff you're supposed to, it's a pretty simple thing to follow, which then creates the routine that creates a well potty trained dog. So stick around. Okay, so this first little part is really obviously simple, but it trips a lot of people up. Potty training is not teaching a dog to go to the bathroom, it's teaching them where to go to the bathroom. So when a dog has an urge, they're going to immediately start looking for a place to go. It's up to you and me and your family and the people who live with you to help the dog learn what is an appropriate spot, inappropriate spot. That's also going to depend a lot on the situation that you're dealing with. I mean, if you live on the 27th floor of an apartment with a very small dog, we might look at a litter box and just teach the dog that, hey, going inside the apartment's inappropriate, but going in this box over here is totally okay. We do it with cats all the time. Now, flip side, I have 100-pound dogs plus. I would need a giant wading kiddie pool, and I don't want that inside my house. So I have to then teach my dogs, is it the front door I want you to go out? Is it the back door I want you to go out? How do you tell us that you got to go? These are all the routines we got to build, okay? And I think it's important that the way you're going to teach this routine is we are going to help the dog figure out where the appropriate spot to go is. We want to use their own clean nature to say, I don't want you to go right here. This is your den. This is your home. We go outside it to go to the bathroom. Or we leave a certain spot and go to our litter box in that first example. And we can't start with, hey, look, dog, I have a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 3-floor house, and you just need to figure this out this week. What we're going to do is use a really common dog training management device to use their own clean nature to help with learning, I don't want to go here, I want to go there. So I'm guessing some of you have already figured out what that management device is. If you haven't, I'm just going to go ahead and ruin the surprise for you and tell you it's a crate. A lot of people hate crates. They think they're cruel. They think they're mean. It's all how you teach a dog to use a crate. If I Harry Potter the dog and I make the dog live underneath the stairs and it never gets to come out and I work 14 hours a day, the crate's going to be a negative, okay? There's just probably no way around that. But if you can set up a successful routine around the crate, we can use that crate to then teach them to learn how to hold their bladder and bowels. Now, when I say hold their bladder and bowels, I'm not talking making a dog right out of the box hold it for 8 hours. It might be an hour or two, okay? The idea is a dog does not want to poop or pee where they sleep. So if we use the crate correctly and we use this stupid thing on our wrist or the stupid thing that we have on our ear all the time, We could easily, right out of the chute, set alarms in our watch, in our phone, for every hour on the hour for the first week. And I might have the dog in the crate that I'm going to take you out. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to whichever door I want the dog to go out. Or I'm going to take him to the litter box or whatever that location is going to be. I think you need to be very careful that you don't have some people taking the dog out the front door and some people taking the dog out the back door, because then the dog's going to think I have two spots where I can go. And we haven't even talked about accidents yet. That could be the third, fourth, fifth, sixth option of where to go. And if we have six options in your house right now that are appropriate in the dog's brain about where to go, this is probably why you're watching the video, okay? But the first thing we need to do first week is we need to set that alarm on the phone or the watch, and we take the dog out to the spot. I like using long lines because I don't want to have to stand right on top of the dog with a leash. Dog's looking at me like I'm a weirdo. I'll be honest with you, people always ask me, why is my damn dog always following me in the bathroom? Well, I think that short leash mentality of potty training, the dog learned at the very beginning, well, I guess we do this as a team. I don't know why the hell you're doing it with me, but I guess I'll follow you in the bathroom too. So I do think giving the dog maybe a 15-foot long line, take him out in the backyard, let him sniff, let him do the thing, and give them the opportunity to go, okay? Now, we haven't talked about rewards, what to do when it takes too long. We're just going to start this first little conversation of the routine of every hour on the hour for the first week. Then we might go to an hour and 20 minutes in the second week, and we might go to 2 hours in the third week. We're going to move in little increments every week. We're going to add a little bit more time in the crate. Now, I will say some of the other things that we can do to help the dog with the crate that maybe not potty training, but is more just traditional dog training, is I'm not going to feed the dog in the kitchen. I'm going to feed the dog in the crate. And the crate should be in the living area of the house, not hidden in a back bedroom. Okay? The dog needs to be right there with you. Okay? In fact, a lot of times with potty training, I'll recommend one in the bedroom. So we haven't even talked about nighttime potty training. We're just starting off with the crate in the living room. But if I had one in the bedroom to sleep in, I had one in the living room to use with behavior modification and routines. This is all we're talking about. But I could feed the dog in that crate in the living room, building up at least 2, maybe 3 times a day of a feeding time happening in this box. So the box has a better situation. Every time the doorbell rings, I can put the dog in the crate, give him a cookie, and go answer the front door. If I'm cooking a meal, I can put the dog in the crate with a Kong. If I have to go take a shower, I can grab another Kong, toss it in there, go take a shower, and come out. And I'm doing all of these little visits to the crate to build the normalization, desensitization of this is a good spot, good things happen here. You're not going to be there long. I'm going to kind of get you just normalized to it. Okay? So once we have that, the dog naturally starts learning to hold it a little bit longer, a little bit longer. Now, where you could really screw this up is leave the dog in the crate because you got busy checking emails or you're watching TV or you're talking on the phone, and the dog held it just as physically long as it could and then peed. You've kind of ruined the process. Doesn't mean you can't, take 3 steps back and kind of start over, but we need to have what's called errorless potty training. We'll talk about that, as we go. If you can put in a month or 2 of no accidents in your house because you become a fanatical nut job about potty training in your dog, you only have to do it for a month or 2 and the dog learns all the stuff. So this is kind of how we're going to use a dog's natural cleanliness and not wanting to poop or pee where they sleep, and putting that with the crate and moving on to the next step. Okay, so let's look at this from the standpoint of every mistake makes the dog think there's another correct option of where to go. I mean, let's face it. In a normal situation, the owner has one spot they desperately want the dog to go. Might be out the back door, might be out the front door, might be in the litter box. But it is one spot. let's say the dog is having 3 accidents a day because you're not paying attention, or you're distracted, or you're at work, or whatever's going on. Then the dog now thinks, okay, I got 4 or 5 spots where they're appropriate. That's where I'm gone. That's these are the okay. Ideally, I know my owner wants me to go out there, but if they're not here, it's okay to go here because this is where I'm going when they're not paying attention. Okay. Now, one thing that we can kind of talk about. I mean, that's just the you know the idea. I mean, if I put it in the simplest terms, a bad behavior never learned is a behavior that's never repeated. So if we don't give them the opportunity to have mistakes, this is that errorless potty training. The dog only learns there's one spot. Okay. Now I'm kind of describing something here, and it'll probably come up later in the notes, and I'll probably repeat myself. But if I do repeat myself, hint, hint, it's probably a really important idea. When you get a dog or a puppy, especially a puppy, take a week off from work. Don't just go out on a whim and get a damn dog and expect potty training to go beautifully while you're working your 8 or 9 hour shifts at work. If you have chosen to do it that way, I think it's important maybe to set up not just a crate, but a long-term confinement space. So this might be a crate where we do everything that we've talked about, except for when we leave. And then I'm going to leave the crate door open, and I'll have a big play pen around it, and I will use a litter box. Some people will use potty pads. I hate potty pads. I think dogs usually play with them, drag them around the house, chew on them. I think they're just disgusting. So for me, I always choose the road less traveled. And what I mean by that is the harder option, where I'm going to just knuckle down and do the work and get a dog potty trained quickly. Whereas some people will come up with every excuse in the world to do it a different way, which always takes longer, creates more frustration, and that's usually where I get called in and have to kind of point out the shortcomings in their plan. Okay. But the idea is create one spot that's correct. And that's where we talked about the reminder, where we talked about going to the one door, taking some time to do this the right way, having a plan before you get the dog, or you get the dog setting up the plan with everybody in the family so everybody else can help you as well. Okay, we've already talked about picking the one spot. And we've talked about litter boxes, and back door, and front door. And one thing we haven't talked about is the dog door. You could do that as well. That's another way to handle if it's going to be a long-term confinement space. It may be that pin is kind of put around the doggy door, and the crate is in there, and the dog has access to go outside whenever they want to. That helps a ton. But I guess the one thing you got to really watch there is the size of your dog. If you're gone 8 to 10 hours a day, I know, I'm from the Kansas City metro area. We have lots and lots of, coyote and fox and other critters running around the areas where a lot of these houses are being built. And a, 6 to 10 pound little dog, even hawks, owls, birds, you can, there's certain dogs that should not be allowed access outside without supervision. Okay. But that being said, what are some tools we can use once we get the routine all set up? We're always going to go out the back door. This is how we go out the back door. This is the long line. This is the freedom you get. As soon as you go to the bathroom, we'll go inside. What do we do if the dog doesn't go outside? So before we get into that, let's talk the dark side of bells. I am a bell trainer. All of my dogs have been bell trained. In fact, you may even, while we're shooting this video here, one of my dogs will run to the back door and you'll hear a bell in the background. The problem with bells is, while it is a brilliant way for dogs to be able to tell guys like me who get into something and focus on it and quit focusing on their dog, is they may learn, I think I'd just rather ring the bell about 143 times a day so I can just go outside and lay in the sun, chase squirrels, bark at the moon, do whatever. And all I can tell you there is it's definitely a problem you're going to have to deal with. But it is a problem where when they do it, come inside, and I'll usually put them in the crate for maybe 5, 6 minutes because we don't go back outside. And as long as I don't leave them in the crate too long where they have an accident in my house or they have the accident in the crate, we can start teaching through cause and effect that you don't ring the bell unless you want to go to the bathroom. Okay. Now, all that being said, once we have a dog who can tell us that they got to go to the bathroom and they ring the bell, your life just got so much easier, okay? But let's say while we're teaching this process, you have a dog and a little bit of dog training humor, or I guess dad humor that connects to dog training. I had two boys, okay? Um, I didn't have any daughters. I didn't have girls, but I have heard that girls are very quick to potty train. They pee their pants once, they go, that was disgusting, I'm never doing it again. Little boys tend to be more problematic and they pee themselves till they're 10, okay? And it's always the same, well, I was doing something way more important and I just forgot, you know? I would put puppies and dogs who aren't potty trained into the boy category, not the girl category. And I do think it's a standard deviation curve. You're going to have easy dogs to potty train. You'll have hard dogs to potty train. I think there's a lot of stereotypical answers of which one's easier, which one's harder, just like what I did with boys and girls. It's going to depend on the individual. But I think as a generalization stereotype, girls are easier to potty train than boys, and that dogs tend to get distracted when they're out in the backyard. So this brings us full circle back to that question that was asked earlier, which is, what do we do when I've been standing outside for 15 minutes and the dog hasn't gone to the bathroom? Calmly, quietly, don't yell, don't scream, don't make a big deal out of it. Just take the dog inside, put the dog in the crate, give the dog a cookie, shut the door, wait between 5 and 10 minutes, and you need to be supervising that 5 to 10 minutes because we don't want them to have an accident. And we let the moment build, and we let the dog realize while they're in the crate, I did have to go. Okay, there is an urge. I need to go back outside. After 5 to 10 minutes, we hook them up, we take them outside, they go to the bathroom. Hallelujah, it's been a successful event, and we move on. Okay. I think that's the easiest way to think about it. Another question that I constantly get on this kind of little stage of potty training is, should I use rewards? And I don't think using rewards is a bad thing. But I'm not sure that by giving the dog the treat, they understand they got the treat for going potty. To me, in my own brain, it is going to the bathroom itself is rewarding. There's a release of stress on the bladder and bowels that going to the bathroom is its own reward in my brain. If you want to give them treats, I don't think it's going to hurt anything, but I don't know that the dogs connect the two. So we've now covered everything up to you're about halfway done with potty training. Okay. So there's still a lot more. Now, up till now, I make it sound like potty training is pretty damn simple. And if you do it right, I think it can be pretty damn simple. But even me, who, I don't know if you've seen him wandering around, I've got a new puppy named Lobo, and he's part Great Pyrenees, part St. Bernard. And trust me, he's had accidents. And every single accident that happens in the house is because you know who, I'm pointing at him, me, has gotten busy doing something else, gotten distracted, forgot about him, and he's made a mistake. And I need to prepare myself to walk in, look in the mirror, and slap myself, then walk out, love up my dog, and start over. But this next little section is going to be some of the common things that are going to be issues. Everybody wants to immediately put a nice dog bed in the living room, in the crate, whatever. I find that those nice, fluffy, orthopedic foam beds tend to be this magical material that they love to pee on because all the liquid just kind of goes away. Might also have something to do with the fact that they smell like the other dogs. It has a scent to it, and that's creating an urge to go to the bathroom. I'm a firm believer as a dog trainer, dogs don't speak English. We don't speak dog. You're never going to know. But there's some logical guesses that we can kind of make. But beds, rugs, blankets, dirty laundry sitting on the floor. These are all spots that I would expect a dog to have issues. We already kind of talked about dogs outside being distracted by the sight, sound, smells of the world, and owners getting frustrated and then bringing them inside and then going back to watching TV or talking on the phone or a text message or cooking dinner or giving the kids a bath or whatever it is. And then the dog immediately, like 3 minutes after you've brought them back in, they're peeing or pooping somewhere in the house. Now, this is one I'm going to throw a little trick that's in the book is take a piece of white paper, something like this, and just use some magnets, put it up on your refrigerator somewhere in your house, and then I want you to, for a period of about a month, I want you to track every single poop and pee, when they did it, what time of the day, so on and so forth. And if you're consistent with the ability to get water and get food at the same times of the day, you're also going to start to see patterns of when the poop and pee come out. And you're going to find by doing that little piece of paper that you've got a 2 pooper or a 3 pooper, maybe a 1 pooper a day. You know, all dogs are different, all people are different. You're going to find that they pee right after they drink, or it may take them a while, you know, but by having those blank sheets of paper on the refrigerator and you tracking everything, you get some really valuable information. We miss some of the easy stuff, the sniffing, the circling. I call it like an airplane coming in for a bombing run. You know, they'll be sniffing and circling. I know my German Shepherd, I got no clue on this one, but I know when she has to poop because she runs to this end of the yard, sniffs a little bit, runs to this, and she starts going back and forth or corner to corner to corner. And it's about the 6th or 7th spot that she finally stops, squats, and goes to the bathroom. Sometimes when they leave the room, you see them slink off, go behind the couch, under the, the bed. Anytime that they're trying to get away, because I do honestly think that dogs, because they're pretty clean animals, I think sometimes they feel that they need to move away from us and go to the bathroom because it would be rude just to take a dump right in front of you. In a sense, if we start with the crate and we do all that work, we've taught the dog, this is our den, this is where we live, this is where we sleep, we don't go to the bathroom here. I might take the dog out of that crate and put baby gates up to where, like in my house, the crate would be in the living room and I would baby gate off the hallway and I would baby gate off the kitchen and I would baby gate off my office to where you were only able to be in the living room. Then the idea would be, we're going to teach you not only is your crate where you don't poop or pee, but now the living room is part of your crate and we're going to go outside to go to the bathroom. Then I might add one more room. So I call it zone training, but it's like the first zone to master is the crate. Second zone is that room. The next one is the next logical room next to it, and you use baby gates and you use different things. And you don't add another layer of freedom till the dog has shown you that they can handle it. Okay? I think sometimes owners will be incredible at potty training for maybe 3 days. And then they take the weekend off because I got a party, I got a wedding, I got this, and the dog kind of backslides. And it's life in general. It happens to us all. I mean, but you got to jump back on it as quickly as possible and start that routine up again. So it may be a battle of, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. You're always creeping along. But I find that a lot of my clients just miss it by this much. And it's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And it never, ever really catches up. And you're always losing traction. So, okay, so what do we do when the accident happens? Well, number one, we admit it was our fault. Like I said earlier, walk in the bathroom, look in the mirror, slap yourself, come back out, start dealing with the dog, and do it the right way. If the old stuff, especially rubbing their nose in it, yelling at them, squirting them with a squirt gun. I mean, if you were doing something that's normal and natural and you're getting yelled at, it's not going to make much sense. I, you know, I mean, I guess if you could catch the dog mid pee or mid poop and go, some dogs might pinch it off, and you can say, "Come on, let's go outside." And you'd probably be saying it as you were clapping. And some dogs will just follow you right outside and finish and go to the bathroom, and that would be an interruption. I try not to do it with my voice because I don't want the connection of me being angry because they're going to the bathroom. It's just counterintuitive on all levels of potty training. Um, if you do have an accident, you got to clean it. There's so many different products out there. I do think there is something to the enzymatic cleaners. I don't think it's near the wonder product that most people think. Um, I know a lot of people will use vinegar and water. I have had a lot of dogs that if it's a strong smell like vinegar, they'll go back over and pee on it again. So a really strong smell could also encourage them to go back to the spot. So I would say you just use a good enzymatic cleaner. I do like the idea of the OxyClean, the oxygenated kind of cleaners to help with stains. As we're talking about stains and as we're talking about accidents, we have to realize there could be some health issues causing accidents. Um, if a dog who's doing pretty well on potty training all of a sudden starts doing poorly, if I notice a change in color of their pee, if it goes from something that didn't smell to something that does smell, if they're constantly going to the bathroom and only leaving little bitty spots and never really peeing, it could be anything from a UTI, bladder infection. We always get the vet involved. Okay. So when I say when the color changes, when anything changes, it's always worth an email, a phone call to the vet because you may call a dog trainer and spend several $100s to have them come out and help you to find out you really needed a 50-cent antibiotic for a week and everything would get back under control. Not saying that will happen, but it has happened a lot. So the vet needs to be involved. But yeah, the big thing to take away from this is no punishing. I mean, don't punish a dog for making mistakes that you allowed to happen by not managing the situation. Uh, it is going to happen. Okay. I've already mentioned, I think you guys probably saw Lobo run by. And I'm doing this video right now, and he was out in the living room. Will I be surprised if I find an accident out there because I was shooting a video and I didn't put him in the crate right here? Very possible. And who would that be on? That'd be on me. Okay, so in closing, I'm going to tell you this was just kind of a spitballing conversation about potty training, things that I think are important. You're going to have questions. Reach out via email, reach out via the Facebook page, call, leave a message. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a one-man business, so it's way easier to email me. It puts you on my to-do list, and I will always answer the questions. But remember, all dogs are individuals. Some dogs are really easy, some dogs are really hard. Um, you can use things like doggy daycare, where they get to go to doggy daycare and they're not having accidents in your house while you're gone. You can have a family member come over a couple of times a day while you're at work and let them out. You just got to find a way to have errorless potty training where you're not, having all the accidents. So a way to curb the accidents and a way to increase the opportunity to go in the same spot every single time. I do think there is some truth to the saying that when you take them outside, that all of a sudden a certain spot in the backyard starts smelling like a bathroom. And they just go to it and that's their spot. Um, Now, some of the stuff we talked about today is probably not in the books. A lot of it is. I found out a long time ago that having an audiobook or an ebook or even a print book helped my clients have something to review. And all those things are available. Um, I intentionally do not write encyclopedias. Most of my books are paperback, double spaced, maybe 50, 60 page um, outlines. I mean, they're written as books, but a lot of people are shocked how short they are. But, you know, there's a reason why the business name is Keep It Simple, Stupid Dog Training. It shouldn't be complicated. It should be a simple routine that you repeat every single day to help your dog understand what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. And you move on and you teach each other and you work at it. So, you know, throughout this, you know, presentation, we've had pictures of the book, we've had other pictures. Um, we have podcasts, we have YouTube channel, we have the blogs, we have the books. There's tons of ways to get information. Get it, you know, and if you need help, reach out to me. Go through the Association of Professional Dog Trainers, APDT. Go to the trainer search. At least you know you're going to get a positive reinforcement trainer. Put in your zip code. The help is out there if you need it. So don't bang your head against a brick wall. Quit trying to shove a round hole through a round peg through a square hole. You know, it needs to make sense and it needs to be easy. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I think we're going to try to over the next 6 or 9 months. I think I've written 9 books. We're going to try to do a video on each one, and they're available everywhere from my website, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, you name it, it's out there. So let me know what questions you've got and how you would like to proceed. We'll talk to you guys later.